this is an extension of it. And one of the conversation we had last week was how yelling is, it can be triggered by, external factors, and it can also be majorly by internal factors. So for the benefit of those who were not here last week, I'll just do a summary of the conversation that we had last week, right? So last week we talked about yelling, and we said yelling is not about the behavior, is not about what your child is doing or not doing. Please, can we mute ourselves? It's not about what your child is doing or not doing, right? Your child will be a child, but it's your responsibility to know how to respond. For example, your colleagues do offend you, your spouse does offend you, people offend you every day. you know every time you're offended, you can't just react and shout and join in the madness. It is your responsibility to be able to control yourself and to respond in a way that is empowering for you and your child. But many times we find that we struggle, especially with our children, right? And we said, yes, many times it might be as a result of tiredness, it might be as a result of the fact that you people don't have a routine or a structure at home, it might be as a result of you're hungry and all of those external factors, but it's majorly as a result of your own childhood experiences and how that shaped your nervous system. Because that response to behavior, that yelling, that reaction, that overreactiveness is coming because your nervous system is not in a resting state. Your nervous system is hyperactive. So any small thing sets off the alarm, right? And your nervous system has memory, and it has learned how to respond to stress from how you have always responded to stress from childhood, or how it was taught to respond to stressful situations, right? And that is what we're now bringing into this conversation. What does this mean, and how can we bring back our nervous system to a place of rest so that things cannot trigger us easily? Because the problem is not that I feel like for many of the parents who are here, you already know that yelling is not good for you, is not good for your child. You want to change, you want to stop. You logically, you know that you want to stop, but you don't have that capacity, because even though you promise yourself, can we mute yourself? So even though you promise yourself that you're gonna stop, you still find yourself you know yelling, right? So this conversation is really more about what are the practices, aside some of the things we talked about last week around having a clear routine, knowing what to say when behaviors happen, and using the one word phrase and all of that. How can we bring our nervous system to a place of rest? Because whatever you want to do in parenting, whatever you want to do for your child, it is you that will do it, regardless of the books you read, regardless of the strategies, the parenting tips. Do this, do that, say this, don't say it like this, pause, do this and all of that. If you don't have the capacity in your body to actually pause and be able to communicate and be able to transfer knowledge and be able to transfer information, or be able to pause when you feel like reacting, then everything that you're doing might not work eventually, right? So what happened to your nervous system in childhood is that, just like every other system in the body, every other, how you learned language, how you learned to write, how you learned to talk, how you learned to speak and all of that, your nervous system also learned how to receive information, how to interpret it, and how to respond to it, right? Your nervous system is the alarm system of your body, that's that is out there checking for signals for danger. That's what the nervous system, in layman, I don't want to sound too scientific, right? So what the nervous system does is that, is checking, is checking out and looking out for danger. And when it perceives danger, it tries to keep you safe, right? So depending on how that danger was perceived, your nervous system will say, okay, let's run, right? So that's flight, or it will say let's shut down, that's freeze, or it will say let's fight. Do you understand? So that's how the nervous system responds. And ideally, what happens is, once this happens, you're supposed to come back to a place of rest, right? Because the body is not expected to carry stress for a long time. So in an ideal situation, you're supposed to respond to that immediate stress and then have rest, and your nervous system will come back to a resting state where it now perceives that, okay, there's no longer danger. All right, everything is safe. We're safe now. Let's just come and rest. But what happened to most of us in childhood is that we grew in environments where we were under constant stress for our capacity as a child. So you grew up in a household where you were walking under eggshells. You didn't know what to do to set your parents off. Everything was a shout. Every little mistake was, you were shamed, you were beaten, and all of that. So your nervous system learned how to be in a state of hyperactivity, always expecting danger, and not fully going back to the state of rest before another danger happens. So it is now hypersensitive, right? And that's why you find out that, you tick off. And why don't you tick off like that for everybody? Because you don't have control for everybody. Just like in childhood, yes, how you would have responded was maybe to cry, to run away, to hide in those situations, right? If you look at your romantic relationship, for example, with your spouse, you still respond in those ways, but not how you respond to your children. Maybe you just shut down, you not communicate, you give silent treatment. That's also like freeze, right? But with your children, because you feel like they are small and you have control over them, that's why you're fighting, which is that shouting, which is that trying to be in control. Everything you're doing, all of the response you're giving is you trying to be in control of the situation. You trying to say let things work out the way I want them to work out. And if they don't work out, they tick you out, and they tick you up from 0 to 100 in a split of a second. So the whole practice of resetting your nervous system, there's no these are like everyday practices, but you have to do them with intention. The whole practice of resetting your nervous system is just teaching yourself, teaching your mind, teaching your body, teaching your nervous system that you are safe, that there is no problem, that we're not in danger, that discipline is not an emergency, that we can actually, allow things to happen without reacting in the moment. That's the whole essence of resetting your nervous system. And there is no magic around it, there's no big practice around it. These are everyday simple activities that you can start doing today. And if you do them consistently and with intention, you'll find yourself being calm, because everything that you're manifesting now was taught to you unconsciously. And the mind doesn't know the difference between conscious and subconscious or unconscious, right? It is the information you feed to the mind that it takes a hook, line, and sinker. It is what you tell the mind, it takes a hook, line, and sinker. So you have to start telling your mind, which then receives that information and sends it to your body, that you are not safe, that everything is fine, right? So the first practice is the breathing exercise. And when I say this, many people will say, oh, they tell you deep breathe, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and all of that. But the difference is that many people tell you to do this in the heat of the moment. So when your child does something, please try and breathe in and calm yourself down, so that you don't respond in a way that you will regret. But that's not the right thing to do. You don't prepare for battle in the face of the battle, right? You have to make breathing exercise part of your normal routine, and you have to breathe with intention, right? What does breathing do? Let me break it down for you. Breathing just sends, when you if you listen to your breath right now, you can tell that you're breathing in a shallow way. You're not taking deep breaths, right? You're having shallow breaths. But if I said, let all of us pause, okay, I want us to practice it now. If I said, let all of us pause, I'm going to give us 1 minute or a few seconds to take 3 deep breaths. If you take 3 deep breaths, let me know that you have done it. Just take 3 deep breaths. Take Breathe in from your nose. Let your stomach swell, that air has filled your lungs, and then breathe out from your nose, not from your mouth. Have your mouth shut. Breathe in from your nose and breathe out from your nose. Take it slowly. Breathe in from your nose. Count 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathe out slowly again. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that, and then feed me back that you have done it. If you have done it, just feed me back. Anyone done? All right. Omowumi, are you able to talk? Are you able to talk?
Yes, yes, please. Good evening.
So after you did it, right? What did you feel in your body? Did you feel any different?
Yeah, I felt some kind of like relief, like my body felt lighter, kind of.
Yeah. All right. So I just wanted us to practice it, because what breathing does is that there's a part of your brain called the amygdala, right? Which is that where the main, like where that smoke detector, that danger detector in your brain that sends that information to your nervous system. What breathing does is that it sends a message to that part of your brain to say, relax, we are safe, right? That's just simply what it is. That's what deep breathing does. So it just sends that information to say, relax, we are safe, right? So you nervous system reset is that you have to keep reminding your body that you are safe intermittently all throughout the day, right? It doesn't have to be when behavior is happening. It doesn't have to be when stress is occurring. It's something that you have to inculcate. If you have to set an alarm to say take a deep breath, do it intermittently. It doesn't take you 3 4 minutes. Just pause and take a deep breath. You're teaching, you're repeatedly communicating to your brain that we are safe, we are safe, we are safe. You don't have to overreact. We are safe, we are safe. And it looks like, why am I doing this thing? But if you trust me, if you do this consistently over a period of time, if you're paying attention to yourself, you'll find out that you're more relaxed, you're less tensed, and the things that will cause you anxiety and the things that will cause you to just react anyhow no longer cause you to react easily, right? So breathing is important. Many times it is taught wrongly. There are many different techniques of breathing, but I will keep it simple here. Do the one that I have taught you here. The key thing is consistency. Breathing through your nose, exhale through your nose. Don't breathe in through your mouth. That's bad practice. Breathe in, count 4 while you're breathing. Breathe in slowly, hold it for 4 seconds, and then exhale slowly again for 4 seconds. And you know, do it try to do it 3 to 4 times in a block. If you can do it every hour, if you can do it every 2 hours, if you can do it, whatever frequency works for you, but is a practice you have to inculcate into your day and do it consistently. Just the way you do I mean, you're breathing anyway. What we're just saying is be intentional with your deep breaths, be intentional with calming your nerves, be intentional with sending that message to your nervous system to say, relax, we are safe, right? Um, yeah. So the second one is grounding, right? If you have time, I want you to read a little bit about why it is important to walk around on your bare feet, especially on the ground outside. I know that it's modern day, everywhere is styled. We wear slippers and shoes everywhere, but one of the ways to research your nervous system, or one of the ways to regain your mind body connection, is by grounding. And grounding just simply means going on bare feet, preferably in nature, outside, on a sand, on a tar, on a grass, right? As often as you can, pull your shoes, remove everything and ground yourself. It's just planting yourself to the earth. And what that does is, grounding is a form of communicating to your body that, I'm strong, right? I'm no longer a child, and I'm safe. So all of these practices is around reminding or teaching your mind and your consciousness and your body that you are safe, you are no longer a child, because yelling is a childlike response to a present distress, right? Because the child in you is the one reacting. Many times when you yell and you calm down, you realize how foolish you have been, or how much you have overreacted, how much out of control you have allowed yourself to be. That's because it's not you, it's not the adult you responding, it is the child in you that is distressed, that is responding in that time. So all of these practices is really about, teaching your body that you're safe, you're not a child, you don't have to respond the way that you would have responded as a child. The third one is identifying where stress is stored in your body, or where tension is stored in your body. So if you have watched like meditation videos, right? If it's guided meditations with voice guidance, you will hear when they will say soften your gaze, relax your jaw, relax, the tension on your face, loosen up on your shoulder. All of these are telling you where tension can be stored in your body, and intentionally just letting go of those tension, of those stress that is stored, of those energy that makes you feel on the edge, right? And just softening into safety is really, really important. So it can be that, again, one, with intention, because everything we're doing is with intention, that I want to reset my nervous system. I want to come into a place of safety. I want to feel safe again. I want to feel calm again. I want to feel calm from inside out, right? So reminding yourself to relax, release the tension on your body. Tell yourself to, if I told you right now to listen to my voice, calm down, and release the tension on your face. Release the tension on your forehead. Soften your gaze. Release the tension on your lids. Release the tension on your lips, on your jaws. Calm your face. Relax your face. Allow your shoulder to relax. Just allow yourself to soften and to melt and to feel safe in this moment. Did anybody realized that their face was actually tense? Did anyone realize that before we started having that conversation, that your face was tense, that when I said soften your face, that you felt like it relaxed a bit? Did that happen for anyone? Did that happen for anyone? I want to hear you. Or am I speaking to myself? Yeah? Are we together? Can you guys still hear me? Cheers, so can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was asking, right? Did anyone feel like when I said soften your gaze, did anyone realize that your face actually was tense before I said that?
Yeah.
So many times we are walking around with tension, with stored tension, right? And when we are harboring all those tension without releasing them, little things trigger us. It can be a child just crying. You're already tense, you're already stressed out, and before you know it, you're ticking off. It's not about what that child did. It's not about that cry. It's just because you have too much stored tension and energy, tensed energy in your body. So making it a practice to soften, making it a practice to remind yourself that you are safe in that moment, right? And like I said, these things are simple practices, but they're very, very profound practices, right? Very, very profound practices. Another thing is taking time to um is a practice I say ending your day well, right? Because many times what happens again is that we're carrying stress and we're carrying them over into the next day, and it's spilling. We're not dealing with things, it's piling up, and then it's spilling into our relationship and our interactions with our children. So another practice I'll say, ensure that you end your day well. And what does it mean to end your day well? What it means is, for many of us, if you have a young child, what happens is your children come back, you do all the mommy things, and then you're putting kids to bed, and before you know it, while you're putting them to bed, you're even going to bed yourself. And there's nobody to be blamed about that. But just have a routine where when everybody has gone to sleep, that you have ten minutes or 15 minutes to yourself before you go to sleep. And what do you do with that time? That's not the time to start scrolling all social media and doom scrolling. That's the time to really think about how your day went. What went right today? What did not go well today? What was unresolved today, right? And it can even be as simple as, what do you regret today? It can be as simple as conversations you had, things you said you shouldn't have said, or things you didn't say that you wanted to say. Just really being in that moment. Appreciate yourself for the things you did well, because many times we don't even acknowledge the things that we have done well. Use that moment to appreciate yourself. Oh, I have done this. I said I was going to do this today, and I eventually did it. Well done to myself. And then forgive yourself for the things that you didn't do well, right? And if there are things that are pending, write them out, write all of them out. Don't leave them in your head space, because that causes overwhelm. When you use your head space to store a lot of things, it causes you overwhelm. So it can be a moment of writing out everything that is pending that you need to do, or everything you're going to do the next day. That is how to end your day well. And what this does for you is that it frees your body, it frees your mind. You're not carrying the weight of that day into sleep and then waking up with the weight again. For many of us, if you've paid attention, many times you would have a good 8 hour sleep and then you still wake up and you're feeling tired. That's because many times we do not end our day well. We just stumbled into bed and we wake up the next morning and then the cycle continues. And that doesn't help your already hypersensitive nervous system, right? So if you learn the practice of ending your day well, it removes the overwhelm or the carryover of overwhelm into the new day, right? And if you practice that consistently and it becomes a habit, you find out that you're not waking up agitated, you're not waking up tired, you're not waking up overwhelmed because you took that 10 minutes or 15 minutes to organize yourself at the end of the day, right? So that's another practice. It's more like a self-care practice that helps you keep yourself, regulated, if that, for the lack of a better word, that helps you keep yourself regulated and at baseline. Because when you're full, when the bottle is full, you've had a full day, you have a lot of unresolved issues, you have a lot of unaddressed conversations, and then you go, you do not resolve it, and then you sleep. We feel like, oh, the next day is a new slate and we're starting all new. That's not true. If you don't resolve it, and many times it doesn't involve having a conversation with anybody, it just involves having a conversation with yourself, acknowledging yourself, forgiving yourself, and then planning for the next day. And then you're waking up actually with a clean slate for the next day. You're not carrying the baggage of the previous day into the next day. That is really, really important, and it helps you to be in that baseline and to stay regulated. Your mornings will improve so much with your children as well if you start to do that. And then finally, another practice I want to say is, with yelling, right? Many times why we go back into the spiral is that we think when we fail or when we stumble, we think it does not work. That's a mindset that you need to change, because mindset, aside resetting your nervous system, aside having the structure in place, aside learning how to communicate, the mindset that you're approaching this with is also very, very important, right? So you're gonna stumble, you're gonna fail. Sometimes I stumble, I still stumble as well. But progress is, if I used to yell 5 times a day, if I used to have very intense morning, progress looks like now the mornings are no longer very intense. I don't even yell as often as I do, right? So when you stumble, it doesn't mean that you're not making progress, right? When you stumble, repair is important, because repair also sends a signal to you that this is not failure, this is a stumble, and we can come back again. So repair is really, really important. So when you find out that you're on this journey to becoming a calm, non-yelling parent, and then you stumble, it's important to forgive yourself for stumbling. Have that conversation with yourself. Okay, I messed up, but I can do hard things. I can do this thing. Your every conversation you have with yourself is sending an internal message to yourself. So aside repairing with your child, which we have talked about in previous sessions, also repair with yourself. Forgive yourself for failing, just like you would beat yourself up with every other failure or any other failure in other aspects of your life. When you mess up at this, also forgive yourself and also recommit to tell yourself that we go again tomorrow. We're going to try again tomorrow. This is not failure. This is a stumble, and we're going to get up and we're going to keep going. And with becoming a non-yelling parent, it's consistent practice, accountability, getting everyone together on the journey, right? And continue to practice bringing yourself to the state of rest. Yes, we will talk about communication, we'll talk about discipline, we will talk about handling the children and helping improve their behaviors and teaching them, and setting that tone for the family and building that family culture where children have an atmosphere that enables them to behave better. But for you to be able to do those things, for you to be able to even put those things in place and teach your children those things, you have to be internally stable. and this would help you not just with your children, it would help you with external stresses as well. I mean, the world is full of stress. If you're living in Nigeria, is double the stress. Everything is stress, right? So this would help you if you're able to bring yourself to a place of regulation, to a place of stability internally. Then it would put you in a place where things that would normally stress you out easily would no longer, it would take more to bring you to that place of reactivity, than any little thing you're reactive, any little thing you want to shout, any little thing you want to start fretting, right? So yeah, so I would say put this in practice. There are lots more, but these are like baseline. If you're I don't want to overwhelm us with information. These are simple practices that you can start doing right now. And I'm telling you that if you do it consistently in a week, and if you're paying attention, if you're present, if you're measuring, you would come back to say you have seen a difference in how you even feel in your body, and how you respond to things externally. So yeah, um I would put together a guide that would capture step by step practical tips, what we have talked about today, and every other thing we have talked about around moving you from that place of reactivity to a place of calm. I will put it into a structured guide that you can have at your disposal, and you can refer to at any point in time. That would be out next week, so please look out for that. Do we have any questions at this point? Any questions? It's been a quiet class. I like classes that are interactive. I don't like feeling like I'm talking to myself. It makes me feel like I'm not making sense. But yeah, just any questions, any reflections before we call it a day? Any questions, any reflections before we call it a day? No? No questions. Okay. In the absence of any questions, I'll say good night, and we'll meet again next week. We'll let you know if it's gonna be Friday or Saturday. We think that the Saturday turn up is more than the Friday one, so we might revert back to our Saturday morning sessions. But yeah, we'll see you next week anyway. Thank you for coming, and I hope this has been helpful for you. I look forward to hearing your feedback around, the practices and how that is working out for you. And remember that, I mean, for you to actually see results, you have to execute, right? If we talk about all of these things and we're not doing them, then we might not be able to get the result that we seek. So try to put those things, that's why I kept them really simple. Try to put them into practice, and then measure your progress and acknowledge progress when it happens as well. That will help. That will be helpful for you. All right, good night and
Thank
have a
you.
wonderful weekend. Yeah, bye. Cheers. So please
Bye.
come back. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma. Hello, cheers. Hello.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, I need to stop recording.